Yeah, she works.
There we go.
You ready?
Dottie, can you hear us? On mute. There's a phone. Yep.
Okay,
You got it.
All right, it's, now my cell phone says 7:01, so we'll call it meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is, call to order and roll call. So, the record will show that all 6 of us are here. We'll move on to approval of minutes. That's for the March 24th Board of Finance meeting. Does someone want to make a motion?
Second.
Oh, so does someone have the motion?
Oh, I thought you just said it.
So,
I see
Steve, you
that.
set the motion, Larry set the second. Any changes to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Personally, I'll abstain because I was not here. I was connected by telephone and I was not able to follow in detail everything that was going on. So that's probably a good idea. So that means the approval of these minutes are 5 votes yes and 1 vote. We'll move on to correspondence. There's nothing listed here on the agenda under correspondence. Is there anything that came in? Under had a letter. Yep, this letter right here. Yep. Yep, okay. And so we'll make sure that goes into the record. Anything else? All right, we'll move on to citizens' comments. Any citizen here who has a comment at this time? Any citizen who has a comment at this? Anyone on Zoom who has a comment at this time?
Jess Bolte has her hand raised.
Okay, and just for the record, Jess, can you state not only your name, but also your address?
Jessica Bolte, 1081 Riverside Drive.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment that it was kind of disappointing that we were only able to see one Board of Finance member at the play this past weekend. The kids and the administration did a phenomenal job on putting that together. And once again, we see a lack of participation from this particular board in community events. We have another community event coming up on May 7th with the Maker Faire. It'd be nice to see some of you participate in the community.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Any other citizens' comments? Right, citizens' comments?
Not yet.
Any other citizens' comments? Any other citizens? Okay. And anything and nothing else from the Zoom? Okay. So we'll move on to budget workshop, and I know that last week we covered some of the Board of Education budget. I know that the audit report occupied quite a bit of the meeting. I think it was a good 45 minutes or more. So I don't know just exactly where we left off because I was in the car traveling from New York to Philadelphia, and I had hands on the wheel and couldn't really follow along exactly where you guys were. So if somebody wants to sort of refresh the board's memory as to where we left off, that would be great.
I think Rob had a few questions remaining, if I remember.
Yeah, you guys gone through the high level overview on the second page, counting cover page as page 1. Those more or less a high level, some of the new words. Services, plans. Yeah.
Salary and other.
That came in, that's a lot of salaries. Department codes. Yes, with most of those. There's the details. Into the details for me. Questions. On some of the buckets, and we left off. This is movement, there was some movement of people, not an ad, but it looked like an ad, but it was a subtraction here, it was kind of getting costs in the.
Yeah, we
we had discussed,
Buckets.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
we had discussed the 3 positions that were on ESSA grants. And then next we just, remarked that next year,
Those 3 positions were covered through
2024.
June of 2023. That's a little bit about teacher salary increases. Here it was around 11,000 on the line. Sort of went on the percent. That was a shift. Retired, and brackets.
That where we left off. I want to make sure that I give you guys enough room. That's where you left. Or if there's any other
We're talking the details and people were asking on different items that they had an issue with or a question about.
questions.
Over the retirees versus the,
Senior teacher.
yeah,
Maximum.
I don't remember yet, maybe it was.
that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
30?
Around
Yeah.
30.
I think it might
There's a
have been around
difference
page
between
14, but if someone wants to back up, we can. I think we didn't really get into.
And just to sort of recap, we usually have the discussion from the superintendent, sort of outlining the big items. Well, the alternate, exactly.
Sure, let's go for it.
So when I see, so for me, I'll jump in, line 368 on page 12. Department 906, contracted vacation payouts. See things like this, 00, big number. 41, 0, and then 4. Just understand.
And what line was that?
Line 368 on page 12. Things are chunky like that, they kind of come and go. Draws a question in terms of, was it 0 last year? 4 now it's 20.
Because the principal retired with a lot of approved.
That's more kind of
I think they
budget
can
now,
answer better
isn't
than
it?
I can.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. We never used this brand new object code. We didn't use it prior to that. We had some pretty hefty vacation payouts. I didn't want them to show up in the individual buildings, because that would really blow up what it was costing to operate that building. A couple of administrators had quite a few vacation days left. So, rather than leaving it where it was without, and rather than counting it as a salary benefit, and it allowed, that's why it went from 00 up to 90, 94, 435. We took that opportunity too to take, there were 3 that left that would be payouts. This allowed us to shift it, and then we didn't actually, fiscal year 2022, we didn't plan on spending money. And we have a couple of potential for fiscal year 2023. That's why it's $20,000.
So if I can comment on that, I know. Wording it. I think it's actually beneficial.
Yeah.
Because it's a chunky year and then we blend it into something else, you don't know what's creating, wave into something else.
You would have asked me why did administrators cost $300,000?
My follow-on question, this is private versus school, but who accrue for that, so that. Not a liability.
You would think you would approve for it. Put it in the right year. I would agree 100%.
When we negotiated the administrative contract, so they're not allowed to roll over vacation time. Correct, this is, we'll get rid of it, but we did have folks that left that were still, under the old, contract, so we had to take them out, we could find that prior to the new contract.
I have no reason not to allow them to accrue if that's appropriate, or you run the system, but you can still accounting wise accrue for it and put it in the year that it's earned. That's what really should happen.
Yeah, not a Board of Ed's budget.
You can't
You can't?
No, you can't. The auditors count it as an accrual,
Right.
okay, but, it's not, it can't go into the general fund because it's actually, do it that way, that it constitutes, minimum budget requirement. All right, so you don't want to include that, plus at the end of the year, theoretically, a Board of Ed budget was 0. And so you're not allowed to actually carry stuff over like that. We do it by grant accounts, do it through deferred revenue, but we can't do it in the general fund.
There may be rules, but to me, it's.
Yeah, we've had this conversation, it's like.
It should, if you earned it in 2019, it should be a 2019 expense, not when you actually, we shouldn't operate on a cash basis. I do so. The rule says you can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, my background is in business, and when I first got into the public sector, it was like, what? Are you kidding me? What? So,
Yeah, and if it is, if you have to do it that way, but for it. And so now they're required to take a vacation then, or do you always just pay it in that year, or?
The administrators, so there's other bargaining units that can still further.
Oh, okay.
But we did, as every contract comes up with time.
Okay,
Because we did have, 2 years ago, quite a big liability.
sure,
on
right, no, I understand, yeah.
we've actually worked with people to split it over 2 fiscal years.
Okay.
So they give us a notice and it's like, okay, so, we'll pay you January 1st and then we'll pay you July 1st to spread out those costs.
For their personal taxes, they may want to spread.
Well, yeah, that's why, I mean, or it'll be July 1st 1 year and then July 1st following year. I mean, we do it
Gotcha.
so that it benefits all.
Good news is that liability is way down.
Facility.
Fuel's going up 18, what was the percentage? I can't remember. Is that 30%? No, I thought, well, the town was going up 30%.
We did 30, but I think they did more. They might be
You know
on a
the
better
percentage?
track.
You're right.
The 3. It was more like 70.
60% or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
So what's that, about 60%? Double what those towns did.
and $3 right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Well, of course, I see it with taxes added and stuff. I'm sorry?
We have one.
Right, no, I understand. Well, if you did it today, do you know what the number might be or approximately? Well, recently.
Bill's been getting frequent. updates
Sure, no, he
from,
monitors it a lot.
Dyno oil.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm asking is the $3 appropriate, or you need more, or less?
So we don't know. And we took a shot at, I think the board took a shot at, well, okay, we'll settle on the $3. And then at that time, it was more than, actually a little bit more than what the,
Current
asking
rate was,
price was per gallon. Then it shot up. And so Bill's strategy is that he's hoping to conserve some oil that we have
Right.
at $1.75, even though we get a storage fee.
Right.
And then hope to use that into the fall and then kind of make a decision in the fall and watch those numbers. If they come way down over the summertime, obviously, Ian will lock it in, but, we can conserve some that he got at $1.75 a gallon. That's got a be to our benefit.
Sure.
Warm weather tonight,
Yep.
Now, your contract that you were into me, was that as it was years ago, based on the dock price, plus the increase?
No, we actually, if we lock it in and say, like last year, we locked it in $1.75, that was the price that day. And we locked it in and that was the future price for us for the year. You can lock it in at any point.
I understand that. We used to lock it in at the dock price of Providence plus.
Yeah, we do it through a consortium now, and we end up, we use the same distributor. But right now, the price is $3.67.
Oh, 367. So if you did it today, it would be 67 cents more than you got budgeted.
Okay, thank you. Disposal service. Okay, I'm gonna go to it's page number 14. And,
The line number up.
yeah, it's, just 432. This is a simple question, actually. Disposal service, I'm sure that includes like shredding and things that have to be done, or is that just?
No,
trash
this
in
is,
general?
the regular waste, cardboard, recyclable, and some medical waste.
So is that a contracted
Yes.
company?
Yeah.
But this is just a suggestion. We should probably look into trying to do something with the transfer station. I mean, we're paying $38,000 to throw away things from the school under a contract. I mean, why don't we have some kind of container and have the town pick it up at the school? I mean, we're sending money outside the town when we have the whole facility over there to get rid of cardboard and recyclable and everything else. Just a suggestion. No, I understand that. And I know there would have to be some kind of tipping fee figured out.
Right.
But I mean, you're paying a company, I'm sure it's significant more. A suggestion, something to look into.
Yeah, I think that's excellent.
Zero.
No,
Right,
yeah,
it would go down.
it won't go to zero. You know, no way, you can't throw anything away for free. But I mean,
I
if
like
we're
it.
paying Waste Management or some company, no, $80 a ton or $90 a ton at the transfer station is a lot cheaper than I'm sure what they're charging there. They're probably charging you a ton when they take a quarter of a ton away out of a small dumpster.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly flat. I mean, their costs, because they're recycling more, but I mean, we're saying it's the
It was just a suggestion, something to look into. I know we try to look at some non-educational things too that we can change and save. Just trying to think outside the box a little.
Oh, that's a good idea.
When I saw that number 38,000, I'm like, a lot of money, to think about. Yeah, you know, I mean,
What the medical
and
was.
and even if it didn't, honestly, even if
I
it
don't
stayed
have to-
flat, even if it stayed flat and the cost went to the town, it would be, at least you're funding yourself, you're not giving the money to an outside source.
Hoping there would be fine market.
We didn't have in the budget itself, but on the capital side, I know at the presentation, there were a couple of items that the school mentioned that they'd like to see in the capital budget. And I don't know if they ended up coming to us. Like the locker rooms, which have been on the list for, I don't know how many years. Are they on the, are they? being
The locker
proposed?
rooms are on the town
Are
side
they-
for
are they-
capital
all right.
expenditures,
Were
yeah.
there any other things that didn't, that for some reason didn't make it on the town side? I'm just trying to remember. For some reason I thought some didn't make it, and probably seems like I have a few minutes to talk
They
about.
didn't, we had a wish list, but a locker room.
I'm sorry, I picked on that. Maybe there are others. I just want to, where the what didn't get on the list, maybe just that we got a minute, maybe we could think about it.
So, Bob's got it up here, so
Okay.
it was, painting, in the hallways at the middle, out at the high school, and the lockers at the high school, in the hallways. The gym sound system in 3 buildings, we need speakers in there, so it'll pick up the paging system. Bill's kind of hoping that he can find, another round of security grant,
Okay.
if that would be appropriate
Okay.
for that. And then, the site work with the new swing, the PTO actually has a different plan, so, that won't be necessary. Then the culinary arts project, we,
That was-
reconfigure. So we have about 100,000 in grant money, but the entire cost is like 275,000.
Right.
So, we're just, hoping that we're gonna start to gut that room in summer, try to get as much as we can get done with the money that we have. And then hope that some other grant comes along so we can finish it up. But
But
if
it's,
not,
but it's not in our capital budget to consider, even though we have $100,000 grant. Should we discuss that, or you got the capital budget?
Oh, I'm not looking at it.
I'm gonna get in. I just wondered what thinking was, because I guess it's not gonna come forward on the capital budget. Touch on it. You could go over the project, and I'm kind of catching you. Because I know you didn't, it wasn't on the agenda, but I wondered if maybe we could talk about that. Or why we're doing it, if it doesn't make sense, should it be something we consider?
I guess we prioritize, and that's why the locker is, to prioritize.
Sure.
That is important because we have visiting teams, right? And the locker rooms do not look good. And there's a safety hazard there. There's things that stick out of those lockers. They have like a mesh front
Those
and
were-
they're bent out.
Those were a NEAS thing too, though, weren't they?
Correct.
Yeah, that was the real reason. I mean, well, that's what I looked at as priority for that.
As far as the culinary arts, we are developing our career pathways. And one of the pathways that we want to develop is the culinary arts program. We had some initial discussions with UBCC, and they are willing to supply us with a teacher, not this coming year, but the following year, to teach the culinary arts program. And in return, they'd like to be able to use the facility at night for their own students. So we feel that's a nice trade-off, but we have to get the space ready. And so we had an architect come in and then draw up the plans, and Bill had bids come in to see what it was gonna cost us. And that's the number we're looking at right now.
275, total, 100 of which got a grant. for, right?
We have 2 grants that'll total up, three actually, that'll come together and give us 100,000. So we can at least start the work.
You're still gonna move forward as best you can then.
Yes, and, we're gonna keep looking wherever there's funding and, continually add to it. And we have all of this summer, and then we'll have next summer to get it all in place. And we're hoping by then we'll have the program developed.
Space is completed. What will be your staffing need to make it operate? Will it only be that one
The one
educator
culinary
that's
art,
coming from PVCC?
Yeah.
So that's great.
it is great.
You know, usually, right, when you upgrade a space, now you're talking about some kind of ongoing, you might be talking about some kind of ongoing expense, like a human resources staffing. But with this, partnership, space, and then, I don't want to say it runs itself, but from a financial standpoint, it's kind of like,
It does, and, you know, the opportunities, right, to learn culinary arts, the restaurant business, hospitality. And, you know, we redid years ago, we redid the cafeteria, and there's like booths in there, so it almost is right around the corner there. So it lends itself where kids could actually do training, and then develop partnerships with area businesses, so that we can get those skills for our students and then get them into a, you know, a pipeline, that, you know, work pipeline, if that's what they're interested in. But, Dr. Mayo, has done, gone out to a couple of times, and they're not ready. They won't be able to put the space in their facility. So they're really hoping that we're gonna pull this off so that in another year, they'll be able to use the facility at like, but they get college credit. for particular. And we've developed more pathways this year with other colleges. We've always had college credits offered at the high school, but we've expanded that. And next year, we're gonna have many more. Students really can graduate with probably a college year under their belt, totally. And that's a big savings for us. And
basically, 75, and so,
yeah,
so balance of that, is there any of that 175 in the line items that we're looking at for FY 23?
that would be split. With like 24. We work next summer. Right. So we would be half of 175 this year and half the other half.
Meaning, one half of the 175 would go into the FY 24 budget. Right now, we're talking FY 23.
Yeah.
Got it. So there's nothing, there's no part of that balance, 175 balance in the FY 23 request. But we anticipate that there'll be some discussion of some portions of 175 in FY 24.
Right. So I thought you said half would be in 23 and half in 24.
Because we're gonna do some next summer.
Right, next summer, but some this summer, what you hope.
Some this summer, the year.
It's not in the budget. None of it's
No,
in the
none
budget.
of it's in the budget. 100,000 is grant.
Yes, got it.
And then for the year, we can spend half of that 175 and the rest. we do next.
So it sounds like the work that's being done this summer is coming out of $100,000.
The bulk of that is obviously demolition, but our guys will do that, but the flooring, commercial flooring in there is expensive, it's like $1,000 flooring. And then that starts it, and then we can start putting the other.
Make a comment as a board member.
Fine, go ahead.
On the end, brought up a good point about something that we have to look at for, there were other agenda items. Yeah. Are there requirements, one of them is draft. And we, that's for, well, so those aren't even mentioned. Just for awareness, and have to start thinking about how we address that, whether there's grant, something to do with physical fitness grant. The two big nuggets that we're gonna have to look at it. Was on the presentation.
The building committee is looking at that. And they have actually a complete plan. And I believe they're looking at that at their next meeting. The price tag attached to it, I don't know exactly what that number is. But they have the whole plan done, they come out, they test it, they put the holes down, see what was underneath the track. So what that all was, but they've been working hard on that. And
No COVID money went towards the track at all, or anything like that? Okay.
Well, the ARPA funds, we proposed 75,000, but obviously that's not gonna cover the cost of the track.
that's
Well, the study and some more engineered design.
When is, yeah.
So it got pushed up because of COVID, the fall of 2020 is the onsite.
We have time.
You read my mind, that was my question,
Yeah.
is what's the timeline on this whole NEAS test requirement? And so fall 26, that's when we need to show that the facilities are up to standard.
That's why the hallways, the lockers in the hallways, now that we put that new floor in, thank you, Tom Thompson, the walls and some of the lockers are really old and, on the, older side of things. So they need to be upgraded, but, the real glaring issue is that, that athletic locker room. They really are
They've been on the list for years.
in
Yeah.
poor shape.
Whale. Those are things you've had to pass on because you've had the special ed requirements. I'm guessing, I'm asking.
Yes, that's correct. And in the letter I sent to them for finance, for bed, you know, we had unspent funds last year, as a result of COVID. So setting that money aside, you know, special ed or capital project, is a request.
I'm just making a note of when that walkthrough is. You say it was fall 20.
No, fall, early fall '26. So probably September.
Yeah.
October.
So fall 2026.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I get this correct.
Do we have to be in full compliance, or you just show that we're making progress?
So there are gonna be some things, obviously, the curriculum stuff, but there were some glaring things that they, and been working on addressing those. So they're gonna expect some things were completed, and then if you're working toward it and there's some plan, I believe that they would, you know, that's not gonna be marked against us.
Other things from their last visit that should be done? I mean, you know, shouldn't just be a plan 5 years from their last visit or whatever it's been.
Correct. And honestly, that's our accreditation.
Right.
Yes. And that impacts our students and where they go to college, and it has a lot of, importance. And it's, you know, a black eye would come to get a bad knee up. It's strong one. The last one, there was a lot incited, right? And we've been making gains to correct those.
And may I ask when the last time they came physically?
I mean, it's every 10 years.
Every 10 years, so 16 roughly, something like.
Right.
Did
It
you,
was
Right.
pushed up because of COVID.
Oh,
by a
okay.
couple of years.
was there a 5-year plan, written plan submitted?
It was.
Any
Yeah.
reaction to that?
It was positive, because things had been corrected, and so there was positive feedback on that. Obviously, they still cited some of the
Mhm.
things that we needed to correct, and then there was another subsequent 2 years. So I believe Dr. Mayo will probably have to, here will have
You have some further?
It's a question, I have a question online, it's, page 20, line 519. Wondered why it's. So much, you know, what I'm looking at.
So that's,
Current development structure and supplies.
20, line item 592.
Oh, the science,
What now?
that science materials, it includes science. K8.
Is the other reductions on those lines account for that increase on that particular line?
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it
just reassigning
Oh, I see.
minus 10, minus 20, minus 10, minus 5. Net on the figure is 13, yeah.
The 13, it totals to $13,000. One of the things that I wanted to try to do over the last few years, well, the curriculum all comes out of the central office. As opposed to, how curriculum comes out there. K to 12, or K to 12 direction rather than individual. So that's why. Knowledge, other people buying our own software or building buying our own software. Some of the same vendors.
So, I'm seeing, what you were discussing when we go with, when we have the line item. Am I incorrect in thinking that that means that coming out of these other line items, that some of them are falling into 519? Is that what's happening? Is that what it's?
Right, that's what-
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I'm following. this
Yeah,
correctly.
either 10, 20, and 5.
If line 519 is up, these other lines.
That's really only an increase of 13,000.
Got it. Yep. I just want to make sure I'm following. correctly.
Yeah, no, that's. Catch that. Nice catch.
Anything else?
I wanted to comment, do things like bring in joggers and just one of the things that we do. Say, is it buy what we thought it would. We gotta look at it. We far enough. from Sharing it was to help that, such also. I'm sure, but it's one of the. So the aftermath of what we thought would happen and.
I don't, all the attorney to write, letters, HR director, letters.
Probably different hourly rate.
Oh, sure.
And they were joking about
Maybe
that.
better, maybe better, probably better. In fact, I guess that sometimes you avoided costs that you, hard to know, some lawsuit that you didn't have 2 years from now. You never know what you didn't have kind of thing, and you avoid it, sometimes you can avoid those.
This one, local rate, price point, I'll point out that.
But yeah, right, right. But we never notice the lack of a bad thing.
That's right.
No shortage of that.
Anything else on board of it? I know before we shifted over to this, we were in the midst of the town side. And then we hit the pause button, so if no one else has anything to cover here, then we would, of course, go back to the town side, so I want to make sure before we do that. Anything else anybody wants to discuss on the school side?
I go back to the culinary thing. Do you lose the grants if you don't take advantage of them?
And then the grants, use the money a different way. So we're not gonna.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, we would make sure that we grant, but we believe that if we start to work, slowly but surely, we'll be able to figure something out. And who knows, maybe, how the money will come from the state, because remember when we got the 400,000 Alliance Construction Grant, that was one of those things where you got a notice, you've got like 30 days to put an application in, and Bill always has a wish list with all the quotes, so it didn't take us much time to get the application.
Transitioning from education to the town side. Anything else anybody wants to mention on the education side before we officially step from one to the other?
This is our last day with Bob, so that was our chance to take advantage of that resource.
If I could just say one thing, I've been working with boards of finance. I worked on a board of ed in my, throughout the years, I've been working with, through the rec commission and other stuff. Worked for another town before this, one, for another board of education before this one. This is a very professional group of board of finance. Pretty proud of the work that you guys do. This has been very good budget process this time. It always has, you know, the way that the board of education is treated by the board of finance. Been always with respect. Really genuinely appreciate that as an observer and just, so I just want to recognize that you guys just do a great job. And I, like I said, I did it in my own town for a long time. And then I started doing this craziness for a living. And I did it with another town before here. And I appreciate what you guys do, and I'm sure the town does.
Thank you. And I'll make sure that Dottie gets what he just said, word for word.
You can use it on your next campaign.
So if we do step officially away from the Board of Ed budget, that means those who represent the Board of Education could theoretically be really good for the future. Right? So I don't want to hold them here listening to us chatter about things that they don't have to worry about. So you're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to depart because
I got the chairs right.
so we're good.
That could change quick, easy now.
That's true.
So we are officially okay with this. Our representatives are going to depart, right?
I was gonna say, I go his way anyway.
Oh, it's our pleasure, thank you. If you need anything else, Bill and I will figure it out.
I think
Mhm.
part of.
Yeah,
No.
That's where we left off. I think we decided to appropriate, or at least to propose, right? We don't appropriate until the budget passes, but we decided to propose 71.2 across the board.
Yep.
I believe that was the number that was right.
Level of funding, yeah.
71.2.
Have we done that yet?
We had 9,000.
It said the ambulance service.
I wasn't here.
Now, the ambulance, that included, that is a separate item. I don't see it as a separate item.
Part of the 600.
Out of the 660. Yeah. So if I multiply 71.2 by 5 and subtract it by 259.
259.
So he said it.
Yeah.
And we voted to increase.
But the total still
We added
the
9
I
out.
know that his math's not gonna work.
same. 59.
250 and then we added.
You added 9,000?
Yes.
Only other item up there was, I had asked, is it the hospital?
just to make sure I'm writing down the correct number, ambulance. You want to talk about when,
Well, we talked about the fact that until we have our own, this building done. which will be- That the ambulances are being stored there. And there's- So I don't think it needs to be a giant number, but we want to do something. Cover that, because if we didn't have that, we'd have to find somewhere else. to
Now,
keep
I
it.
think it's appropriate.
Now, do we have an idea how many, how many months have those ambulances been there? And how many are they gonna be? Is there any, do we have any idea of how long that period, how many months is that?
They've been there since October,
Okay,
so
It's all right.
count on my fingers, 6 months or so, 7
So
months.
6 months now, and then we think, what, another 12 maybe?
Hopefully.
Does that sound, does that sound
We're
promising?
working, we're working hard to break ground by summer.
Okay, so it's another,
All in 8 months.
that's a good way
Yeah.
to look at that, yeah. So,
I will say I did reach out to KB Ambulance to request that they make some type of contribution to Thompson Hill to cover the months that they've been there at the cost that they've been charging us. It's only fair, and the administrator is supposed to take it up with the board of KB Ambulance.
see what they do. or-
But I would say from fiscal year moving on, we need to take care of Thompson Hill.
Let me jump back in. That would- Amy not only reached out, she wrote a very excellent email asking if that were to happen and cover a period of time that passed already,
Right.
get us maybe through the time that KB's done. Here, we're talking about future kind of go forward. July on.
Well, that's.
Okay.
Let KB know.
KB's gonna be
won't
gone.
be with us. KB, whatever KB
When
handles.
is that?
April 15th,
This, so, a couple of weeks. you're talking.
yes.
So how many months are we looking at that after KB's done?
Steve was estimating about 8.
8 months?
Feels about
That's
right.
going, the total time from October to the end of the fiscal year is like 8 months. I'm not sure when it started in October.
Let's see.
Oh, it's okay, so I'm,
Again, I mean, you hope to break ground. We hope to break ground by summer. There's still some logistics. We don't even have design plans in place. We don't even have engineered design. It's solidly a year.
At least.
But my thought would be focused, if you're going, since Rob has brought this up, focus on, well, what can we do for this year? What can we plan for this year? For 23, fiscal year 23.
I'll go back for a second on this email you sent. We're just asking them to make a contribution, just take it out of the profit and the leg.
Yeah.
If they do it, that's wonderful. That seems to me like asking a lot. I don't.
I don't know if we're gonna talk,
They're getting-
we're gonna talk figures, but no, just a few thoughts. They know it was courtesy that they initially did this. So, they didn't ask anything of us. No, I mean, as far as,
We're paying through the nose for that service.
no, I'm not
Thompson
talking
Hill.
about KB, you're hearing me wrong, I'm talking about,
Oh,
Thompson Hill Fire.
Thompson Fire
Department.
Company.
You're on a different page. So
Okay,
I just, so I want
didn't see
everybody to
you through the
understand.
page.
Look at, no, that's, I know, I'm sorry, Dave, it's all good.
Right, so the Hill stepped up.
So the Hill stepped up, they didn't ask anything of us, but we know they're paying for it. There's never anybody in the fire department on a normal, daily basis. So we know they have the heat on, we know that people, they're making coffee, they're using electricity, and they're there all the time. And I know the ambulances are indoors, inside. I think $500 a month sounds like a reasonable amount to offer Thompson Hill.
Let's ask.
We can discuss it, that's what I'm looking for.
Let's wait till we hear from Thompson.
Wonder if they
You asked for a
I wonder if they know
particular
how
number.
much.
I know that Thompson Hill
Yeah, I
is,
wonder what their expenses went up.
I can find out definitely. I had asked that from Go because they had approached us because they did install a mini split in the conference area, their meeting area, to help alleviate some of the cost of the heat. Know that, that an ambulance does need to be plugged in, every night or throughout the day, so it stays charged. There are mechanics within the ambulance that have to be kept charged. So that's gonna be a draw. I mean, I could find out exactly, I have requested that from them, because they had expressed that we might be overstaying our welcome.
Well,
Nice to at least cover our costs, that's all.
Exactly, and I,
Yes, for particular number from,
did I what?
yes, for particular.
I did not,
Okay.
I did not, because I haven't gotten the figures from Thompson
Okay.
Hill, even though I did request it on a couple of
And
occasions.
another thought is that, which, of course, I'm thinking heat, all I'm thinking about is heat, but, when, the 8 months isn't gonna be always 8 months of heat either, it's gonna be, and just,
It is
so they
gonna
put
be
a
a
mini split, in, they might have the AC on. So it could go the other way too, but either way, our electric bills are. It'd be nice to know what,
I'll
if they
try-
could give some kind of idea of what it actually changed.
I'll ask Chief Brower
That'd be great.
I'll ask him again for a hard number of what they might be looking for. Because again, I don't want to overstay our welcome there.
Sure.
They did give up a bay, and one of their vehicles is actually being stored at the highway garage currently. So,
So just to clarify what we've been discussing, we're discussing FY 22. Basically, we're discussing what's been happening since October.
Right.
How much money somebody's incurred during FY 22. As opposed to budgetary provisions in FY 23.
right.
And so if we were to sort of continue on with that, are there estimates in here in FY 23 that take this topic into discussion? There are not. And is that something that we're talking about putting into this? Or
I put on the table and say, I think we should.
right, so you said we should at least consider FY 23 something.
I want to consider what
That's what we're reading up. Wanna make sure
what
where we're going.
the expenses that they've accrued due to this, look at least. That's my thought.
So we don't know the answer until we find out from them. But we're at least, the way it seems like the discussion is going is we're willing to at least consider something in FY 23, depending on the incident. with that. And we may or may not do it, but it sounds like it's something we're at least putting in placeholder here and say, let's find out what are the costs and then see if this is something that we should take action.
I was thinking if I could, Aaron, you get it, do it, hang our, press our feet to the fire and say, we're gonna do it, this is what it's gonna be, just get it. I mean, I'm compelled to at least help to see cover their incremental costs. It's not a profit model for them. You've got costs incurred because of it. I think it's a gesture and a thank you for the entity, just took care of the town.
It's a cost they wouldn't have had otherwise.
That's correct.
We took care of this when we knew.
Ask them, as what you said, ask them, what's the difference with that being in there and what were they paying before we were using it?
Right.
Okay,
Well, I'd be careful. because
Yeah, I
oil
know.
has doubled in price.
What then?
Before, but now.
You're right.
And what we could do is look at it from a oil consumption standpoint, meaning how many gallons of it, and we can do the cost split that way. I know, because I'm a member of the Thompson Fire Company, if I ever do an ordinary time, when there is not an ambulance there, if I go in and do station check, it's pretty damn golden, right? And before they get ready for a meeting, once a month, and they crank it up, or if they do on Monday night, where it gets goes down to the station, crank it up. But that you can just look at the number of gallons that are burned, right, through last year, and then look at the number of gallons burned this year, and do the cost differential based on how much.
Just like the electric bill, even your electric bill shows you what the breakdown is per month. So you can do some kind of formula to figure that out too.
But Larry, to your point, yeah, right, they look at last year versus this, from a
Right.
consumption standpoint.
If you want, you can go back as to, more than 1 year or 6 months or
Look at
whatever,
the trend,
although everything has gone up so far.
that's right. But
Yeah.
But still, you could still.
Well, you can get an idea.
Look at consumption, from consumption standpoint,
Right.
number of gallons, so you go back a few years, you get apples to apples.
And go from there.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get a letter to them, or how are you gonna get to them?
I'm gonna reach out to Chief Brower. Yep.
If you do, could you put it in writing?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, we get a copy so that we know exactly what's going on.
I can email them and CC all of you. Will that work?
I think so.
Okay, I will do that first thing tomorrow.
Clarify,
Yes.
not a cost, because they're gonna have a cost.
Mhm.
Right, you gotta do the difference.
Incremental cost.
Yeah.
Difference.
Got it.
It's gonna be difficult to figure out winter versus summer. That's what
Yeah, but you know what? You could go back to, oh no, was it parked up there? Was KV up there?
Through the Baker County.
Yeah, no, it's just,
That's reasonable.
we could do a crew back at the office. But there wasn't communities ambulance up there starting in June?
True. True.
I think it was late
Right,
June is when
yeah.
the building inspector said,
Yes.
thou shalt not put anything into this building.
Yep, you
So
are
that
correct.
means Thompson has been stepping up to the plate since basically July first, right? If we say June, end of June, and we just let them keep that last week of June, we'll say since July first. They've been doing it.
Correct.
We just paid the oil a month ago. I mean, no, that's not the- Get it down to those gallons, or a gallon. I think your approach is logical.
I agree with Aaron.
Let's not take, I won't say, counting side of it. And, you know, they stepped up, we can step up a little bit. So it's not a huge number.
And I think, I suspect our gesture is very much welcome. Just the fact that
But we all know.
no one's gonna hold each other to dollars.
Never mind.
That's right, right. I don't think anybody's gonna hold anybody to dollars and cents down to the detail. So, I think that rounded things out for fire department. Anything else in the fire department? Anybody else wanted to cover? I think we had discussed the firefighters tax refund, right? The drop here is because it's been shifted over so that it's that's right. It's no longer considered compensation that it's been a 1099. It's literally a reduction in tax liability.
Correct. And I believe at the last meeting, I had the question, which I did share with all of you. What was the cost of the exemption? And Paul had sent us the, that it was about $43,000, but was the cost for the actual exemption. So which fell within budget, but on the revenue, the loss of revenue side. So we gained it on the expense side, but we lost a little bit on the revenue, but it matched, it worked out. Yeah, it was about a wash, so.
So anything else in fire department? No, we'll move on. Emergency management, pretty quiet there, if you ask me. Then we have, security, ERJ at DOE. Is this new? Is this?
No, it's been multiple years, I think, since going back to 2018.
I don't recall like there being a department called security. ERJ.
No, I don't know why that's in there like that. It just said security.
Oh, okay, so, all right.
It
so-
is.
So where did it live previously? What department?
It was security. I don't know why it says security project at Board of Ed. That was something that Orla must have
Okay.
inputted on Munis.
So then it did.
Remember, everything pulls over from Munis, so it must have been pulled over from Munis.
That's right. So it did occupy a town space.
Butter jelly, right?
That's, you're right, exactly. I don't know what it was.
And it goes back to 1920. The 1920, the FY20.
Oh, this came up 2 weeks ago. It's at zero. Budget.
Yeah, I don't know why it
But yet
says
the
that though.
overall number is 60,000 somewhere, not in that box right there at the bottom. 30 seconds. It's at zero. Right? We know the overall number.
Where were you?
You're on the others.
Yes. Right, So it was 41, 60, 0, 60.
60 this year. So we compare this year to next year, 22 to 23. So,
Right, and I remember that being discussed, so maybe that's officially where we left off. But Dave wasn't here, so it's just as well that we revisited the fire department, so you could weigh in on this rent thing. But I do recall that being discussed, which was, where did this go? And then we figured it must be somewhere in there, legitimately somewhere in there. We just don't know where it went.
The school is part of the school. There,
No,
It was still on the town
so
side.
they circled it. And I said,
Yeah, we're still on the
it was
town
60.
side.
okay.
Since 60 years. Overall numbers have to be down by 60 is somewhere else.
and unfortunately, according to the spreadsheet,
It's not here, but it's here.
I didn't get a
So we know
solid,
it's somewhere.
I didn't get a solid answer from Paula, in finance. So forgive me, I dropped the ball on that one, but I did double check. I mean, it's in the book. It's in the old spreadsheet, and the account numbers through Munis are the same. So it's baffling me why it's not showing up in the original budget from 2022. So I know that it was paid out. I do know that it was paid out in its entirety.
Here's why I believe we have to file it.
Right.
And the reason is that could be an indication that this other piece is broken.
Right.
Maybe not, but if we can find where it is, actually, it's comforting if we at least find it, even if it's in the wrong place, because then we know it's there. So I think we need to know. Because if that's not there, maybe.
What else is wrong?
There's a few other things that are wrong we haven't gotten to yet, but we'll touch upon those.
Doesn't need it that way.
I got a list. We'll get to those.
those.
But, can we try to find that? Maybe, remind me, yeah, the 60,000, how come it wasn't showing up in the original budget? I know that it's been expended. I know it was in the 2022 budget, yeah, the original budget. For
You
some
want
reason,
the-
it's
You want
wiped
the
out.
line item?
No, I have the line item, and it's showing up in the ClearGov software. For some reason, it just never pulled over as the original budget.
pull over the budget, you know.
Right. But I know it's been expended.
the expenditure pull
I don't have the sheet.
over? I mean.
I'm not- No, it didn't. It didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reason is I think we confirmed that at the bottom of the spreadsheet, the total for the current year was correct.
Right.
So everything that was supposed to pulled over. Just may not be it may not be sitting in the right little box down here like we wanted.
See the bottom line all the way down to the end of the operating budget. Then we would know. But if it's not up by 60, then where is it? Where is it?
I'm looking for one thing.
Yes.
As of January, $25,531 was paid towards that security staff for the school. That's this number here. I just pulled over from the actuals, which aren't the actuals anymore. It was when Orla pulled the data from Munis over into the ClearGov system. So something's been expensed to there, but I think it's more than that. I think we already hit the 60.
The total is correct.
It's not showing up in the
The
actual.
question is, it's not in that spot, so it's in some other spot in the budget.
What we need is one of the sheets for the security department. That's good. Oh, yeah. You want to do that? You want to find that?
Yeah, I might as well come back.
All right.
At some point.
Thank you, guys. Let me get the sheet for you.
Okay.
Sometimes we move on to another department.
What's that?
She's left the room, we're gonna have to wait for her to come back. Not like you can say, right, well, let's just go on and talk about, you know, wait for her to come
No,
back.
don't they know?
What's that? Canine? Well, we haven't hit canine yet, so it might have been a piece of. Well, we can, oh, okay, yeah, so when he's back. Yeah, so I mean, we're thinking while that's going on, maybe we jump into canine operations.
Yeah.
The only question I have a problem with is going full time.
And we've gone from 15,000 in 2019 to 53,000.
Well, I'm looking at salary.
I'm just the whole department,
Yeah, I understand.
but yeah. That's what. Right.
That is a problem.
Big deal. And I'm not saying that I certainly am not gonna say that the response hasn't improved from having NECOG, because that definitely has. I just myself seeing it out there, it definitely improved. We weren't getting any service from them.
I'm not critical of that, I'm critical of the increase.
I'm agreeing.
Some degree, the 2019.
That's leaving a little
I'm
room
agreeing.
for extra time.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't know if I'm in favor of it going to a full-time position.
You go ahead.
I say 2019 and 2020, Barry was not working,
She
or
hasn't.
partially working
No,
in those years. And I know in the years before that, we paid her nothing, but she worked like a dog.
Mhm. No pun intended.
And we paid NECOG and didn't get anything. So at least we're getting our money's worth for our part-time. No, I know.
I'm suggesting instead of 18,000, that leaves a budget there of 26, allows for significant increase in time.
Where's the 18 come from? What's the 18? What's the magic behind 18?
Nothing. Okay. I just looked at the increase and based on Amy's request, there's additional time needed, so I said it should be 26, and that allows for additional time per day or per week or however it's determined. As needed.
No, so that's, I'm trying to, okay, so that's the logic, that's what it is.
So basically, it's an upward trend that's approximate to where it come from in the last couple of years. Well, this current year was 2867.
Salary only,
That's a salary. I'm working.
or office actually.
20,867.
Yeah. I'm seeing 20,867. And I'm saying we should cut 18 and push that up to 26 to leave significant increase for additional time that's not, I assume there's not a contract.
No.
Is that a per hour or per week?
that was going to be putting her at 40 hours per week.
So if I follow you, this is the same person.
Yeah.
Just elevating that person from part-time to full-time.
Okay.
That would be our request.
What's the current hours?
She's putting in, she's worked around the clock.
What do we pay?
Now, how does
What do we
it-
pay?
It was, well, it was 20, her hourly rate as of last year was $20.50. And then this year we proposed the 1.75% increase.
But in how many hours a week? Do you have that? I mean,
Oh.
ask you.
It was, she was at 19.5.
Okay.
So that means
Yeah.
we were under the benefit. Is that what
Correct.
the 19.5 kept us under paying benefits? So it goes the whole time, you know.
You can leave it at part-time with
Yep, I know what you want.
putting in for additional hours when needed. What constitutes full-time, how many hours?
20 hours,
20 is full.
When it goes to benefits, it's really low.
right.
So we up the hourly
No, not at
Not the hourly,
I'm
but-
looking at part-time, the way it is, and as needed, there are additional funds there.
That's,
but still
I don't
keeping
think
it
you can
at
do
20
that.
hours.
I was gonna say, that's not,
It's not legal.
labor wise, that's not really the way that,
Frequently you are all.
she's
over 20.
constantly over
We
20.
have to keep it at 20 hours. Or 19.9.
You gotta keep it at less.
Well, keep it at 19 and then adjust. She's working more than her 19 anyway, is what you're telling us.
But if the truth is she's working more, then she
Right.
deserves the benefits. That's the way
Can
it's
I
just.
can I speak on this one?
Go ahead, Suzanne.
This has kind of been something I've worked closely with the ACO on this one. She is working 40+ hours a week now. She's seeing things that we haven't seen in the past. And she's getting calls around the clock. She's seeing dogs that are so emaciated, they are near death. I mean, she's going to court with individuals because she's in court in Danielson 2 or 3 times a week lately. We have dogs that are biting and attacking and people that are not taking responsibility for them. And we are getting every penny worth, that penny's worth now at 20 hours. And she's asking for 40. I believe she needs the benefits, is one thing, the insurance, not so much the vacation, whatever time, because she works around the clock. She doesn't take time off. But we have a functioning dog pound because of her. And the training that she has invested into it and the time she's invested into it. It is one service in this town that affects almost everyone in town. I just would hate to see us lose an individual that works so hard for this town because she needs health benefits and she's worked in doing the hours and not getting paid for it. When we were using NECOG, we were not getting the service we were paying for. I can tell you that. From a personal standpoint and from what I see that we are getting now for this money, I would ask you to please reconsider making it a part-time position and making those cuts.
The Nikon cost.
I believe their proposal was about $28,000 a year.
What?
I'd have to double check
If we're
that.
going full-time, Amy, have you budgeted benefits?
Yes, we would.
Have you?
Yes.
Is it in here?
Yes.
It's
not
in
in
the
Mr.
elsewhere in the budget. No, I
Yeah,
know that.
they're
right?
in the
I'm
budget.
saying, is it covered in the budget?
Somewhere else.
Mhm.
Reason to talk about, I was setting aside the argument of the level of the service, when we look at this, comparing it to what NECOG costs us, 25. We drew a model and said, we can do it ourselves for the same cost. The classic make versus buy, private sector. Make it or do we buy it? We said, we can get better service, same money, let's do it ourselves. Mistakenly, and it's on me as much as everybody else, when we did that, we didn't include a handful of costs. Got put in utilities, phone. 25 became 32. We put in. So we're really departing, it's kind of where Steve was going, we're really departing when we started. And I think we need to ask ourselves, is this level of service that we believe we should have and townspeople believe we should have, because it's no longer a NECOG versus we do it ourselves, and now we're twice. Recognizing, I'm not saying we should outsource it, recognizing fully that that's a different service that we get. Far, far, far less. So I don't fully maybe don't appreciate or understand it. You have somebody contracted 20 hours and working 40 hours. What services are we driving? Explanation on that. What is it doing? What is it that, what's the benefit to the people? That raise the cost out.
Is she covered if she gets bitten by one of them? That's all in here?
It would be covered under workers' comp.
So
Okay.
let's go to that. We go back to my question. Can someone explain a little bit of what those services look like? This is what we had. Someone walks up to us at the town coffee shop. Why are we paying twice as much for animals?
I know,
I don't know if
I know that Jan has, as Suzanne touched upon, she is on call round the clock. She has had several cases since, just this past year. There was an animal cruelty case at a local horse farm. There were probably six or seven horses that were malnourished. I mean, you could see their ribs. So she had to intervene on that. She gets calls in regard to various farm animals, which she doesn't, she has to pass off, but she has to at least investigate various things. Most recently, there was a Great Dane, a dog, and I have photos, happy to show you. She's following up with a court case on that. Again, the dog was skin and bones. Literally, there was almost nothing left for this dog, who was supposed to be a very large dog, was probably only about 50 pounds. So she takes in a lot of dogs. Sometimes in one case, a gentleman had passed away and there were two dogs left at the house. She had to go in the middle of the night to collect those dogs and bring them to the shelter. She has been able to resource out a lot of the dogs go to foster care. So she has a couple of foster homes, which helps alleviate her schedule. Additionally, she collects a lot of donations that are all going into that dog fund. So some of the expenses that we're seeing now, I have to talk to finance because they should be coming out of that dog fund account. Any of the donations that Jan is able to get should be able to be used to offset the expenses of her department, I believe. But she does have a lot of donations that have been made, and those go strictly into the dog fund and haven't been credited against the expenses of her department.
So does that mean that there's a dog fund on the revenue side that we're drawing down from?
Yes, and last I knew it was about $50,000 in that account.
And the assumption is that we're drawing down the.
That's off budget.
Well, that's what I mean.
It's collected on the dog tags. This is from years though. It's been
Right.
sitting there and accruing.
But it's not a budget item.
No. Yes.
Oh, so it's not officially showing up on the
No.
revenue.
The donations aren't, but there is,
The dog fund.
some-
The donations go in the dog fund, yes.
yes,
And the dog fund lives on the revenue side.
correct.
Got it. So when we draw down on the dog fund, it hits the budget, right?
Yes,
So those donations are going to the dog fund. They're not showing up when they just sit in that fund, but once we draw down, it does show up on the revenue.
right.
So I guess the question is, how much are we drawing down 50?
I don't think they've taken anything from it yet this year and really should be.
There's no assumption of drawing down on that fund in this budget?
No, no.
No, there's no.
We
drawing
did make
down.
adjustments. We made adjustments for vet services. Jan had asked for a lot more to cover the vet bills. And we brought that down because we know that we can pull that from the dog fund account.
And vet bills in this, operations department?
Right now, I think we have it at 1,000 for vet service. if I'm correct,
Oh, yeah, it is. So vet service.
but I
lives
think
in
Jan
the
might have
canine-
asked for 5,000.
But just to clarify, so vet service lives in the canine operation. That
Correct.
Makes sense. The dog fund, there's nothing, there's no revenue in this proposed
No.
budget that's coming from the dog fund.
No.
But the dog fund exists, and so I guess where I'm going with this is there could theoretically be revenue from the dog fund, this budget, if we were to decide to turn into a revenue.
Correct.
How much is in the dog fund?
I believe it's $50,000 right now.
Can I ask them, what do we get per year?
Right, I was gonna say, right, how much?
It's not that much.
It goes into that fund each year.
And that's been a concern because it's not a tremendous amount. Yeah.
That's right, not a lot.
Right.
And the donations, I just wonder how much of a subsidy are we talking about? 2,000 a year?
Well, this is similar to the rec department off budget fund.
Right, correct. I would-
Real quick, it is, in terms of the 1,000 that's coming in, there
Right.
was a
I
rather,
understand it's an off budget account. It deals with that $50,000.
That
it
was
was
another reason
originally,
why,
it was originally $67,000.
that was,
So, okay, it's not being funded at that level.
Right.
Funded at a lower level.
Correct.
that was another driver that we had, which was the reason why we went away from NECOG, was because we would have had to give them that full fund. Was in that fund. That's why we decided to go in as part of that. That was,
Can I make it, the dog fund has some strings attached to it, and Rob is right. And there's certain ways that it can be spent, from what I understand, and I had the, I don't know what it's called, the statute that it falls under. The dog fund would have had to been turned over to NECOG because they were servicing this town as the ACO, and that money stays with the ACO. In transferring it into the budget, is that what you're talking about doing, into the general or into this
No,
budget?
I think they're just looking to offset what would
Offset
offset.
some of the cost of it, right?
I don't have
Okay,
a
because
problem
we've
with it
already
being
done
off
that with
budget.
some repairs.
I think
things
it's
too.
much cleaner to leave it off.
Yeah,
So are we actually saying that this operation isn't 53,000 total? It's really
Like,
60?
it would be,
Is that what we're saying?
would be. Some of it is being.
Oh, well, no, that's not offset. There's nothing offsetting it in the budget that we're proposing.
Well,
so-
you're decreasing,
Oh, well, we did decrease the vet bills because we knew that we'd be able to, yeah.
that's a safety net.
Well, because Jan, I think, asked for 5,000 and we dropped it to
supplies, you
1,000.
dropped 500,
Right.
500.
So she asked for $5,000.
Chemicals, you dropped 200. Food, you dropped 150. I assume that's being compensated through the fund.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so. Got it. So there is an imputed revenue drawdown here. It may not show up on the revenue side, but it's imputed in that
Right.
the requests for expenses are not as high because of the assumption that the dog fund's gonna offset. it.
Correct.
Got it.
That was in budget, this would be 63 instead of.
What I was,
Right,
what
then how much does it really cost?
I was trying to convey in a job that's happening, that is not sustaining.
Mhm.
That's my point. It's not sustaining. Eventually,
Well, still going up
Eventually,
as
we'll
opposed
pay
to
for
leveling
it,
off?
but right now, we're taking the credit.
not enough coming into the dog, 1,000 coming in, we got 50,000 sitting there. Take 10,000 a year in 5 years.
But we're
Then
not
it's
doing
gone.
that.
Yeah,
Well,
last year we took like 16.
What was
No.
it,
Took
six-
some.
62
Took some last
or
year.
66?
Yeah, it was like,
For the building, I believe,
it was under 10.
Took some last year.
And I think there's something else, here or something that's gonna be coming out of that dog fund. That we took out of the,
No, that didn't come out. It was $1,388 for the water heater this year.
but it's also used as a safety net for vet bills, and that's part of why we have to keep an amount in it.
But let's take advantage of it.
Not to your point, we're
Let's
spending,
see, yeah, let's do it.
we're spending twice on what they got plus, the services are different, but that's a lot of money. And we're asking to see money work at that, 24 hours a day.
People not doing
I
that.
know you do.
Okay. You
Got
want
a
to
guy
say
off.
that?
from- from their-
Okay, well, well,
Oh, I know.
you think?
Fair
On
enough.
some other account?
Fair enough.
Not
Well,
here,
we
some
can
other
go
account.
into,
You think
uh,
we'll find them?
Sometimes we go Tuesday, Thursday.
Oh.
I think we got some of the tougher ones,
Over my 20
fire
hours.
department.
Oh, that's what you went full time. You'll need benefits.
Okay.
So, so
I'm
then,
curious why they.
does somebody want to make a, we can, so there's two ways we can do this, right? About having been on the board of finance for how many years I've been on. Sometimes we say, okay, and nobody wants to be the bad guy, so we move on. And at the end, we come back and we do it at the end.
I plan
Other
that,
times
I
we
plan next.
I don't want to have any
week, we've got
mistakes
a
in
list
that.
of stuff that I would-
So we can either move on from this and come back later, or we want to make an adjustment now, but I've been doing this enough years to know that eventually we come back to this, either we need to do it now or later, but we usually will come back, okay? So we can move on if you want, just we'll know that we're coming back here.
I think we started the department as a part-time. I know, I understand the hours have become more than part-time, but it was created as a part-time. You know, animal control office slash, and, I believe there should be some increase, but I think going full-time right now.
That's overboard.
We don't want to lose a good person, but at the same
I
time,
think we're
it's
showing,
gonna have to be slowly.
that's an awful jump. I think we're showing good faith,
That's the last question. There's two different models here. One is, we're not gonna be there this year, we're gonna be talking about next year.
It's okay, that's 1 year, we don't have to pay it.
The other choice is.
If I give you $1,000 raise this year, I'm giving it to you as long as I'm hiring.
The other choice is DCOG, which is half the cost, and the staff for 24/7.
They say they're staffed 20%. That's the issue with that. And no, I'm on both sides of the fence with this one. You know, they say they're staffed 24/7. When you call them, they don't come. I've seen, you know, this.
Well, maybe,
this woman
maybe that
doesn't
needs
show
to be
up.
addressed. I mean, I'm not gonna argue, you know,
No,
I'm
so-
sure you're right, I'm sure you're right.
So I'm just, that's, so you get nothing.
But for sure, we don't have 24/7.
Okay.
What do you mean? I mean, she shows up when you call.
I hear you.
But that's,
Not reasonable. Not reasonable to hire somebody to work 24/7. Sort of what we're asking.
Every
Well, you have a-
every animal control officer in any town that's part-time is still, basically they're on call all the time. It's just like
your Department of
It's just
Public
how-
Works director is
how it works.
24/7.
How it is. you
That's
know.
the job.
One of those departments, you know, you don't really have fixed hours. You don't come in at 6 in.the morning and start hustling
It's
dogs
a
out.
salary position,
And,
you
you
do
know,
the
it
job.
just doesn't work. So that's just my thought.
Just trying to think about the discussion on the DCOG thing. Not really, why I moved away from it. So basically, coming back to kind of trying to weave what Rob was saying is, when we were with NECOG, we were basically paying, I don't know, what, $28,000, is that what it was? For basically part-time service that wasn't very good. And now we're trying to shift over to a part-time service that's better than what we were getting from NECOG. And we understand that it'll cost us a little bit more for that part-time service. But it was sort of like we were gonna go from one part-time service to another part-time service. I think that's philosophically what got us to say, okay, let's do this. That was the philosophical.
Had a significant increase.
So what we do, and we were gonna pay more, but we figured, hey, if we can, we're
No,
gonna
we
get
were
better
gonna-
part-time service instead of pretty close to zero part-time service, then any dollar spent on a decent part-time service, is better than what we're getting. NECOG, and so I guess that's what made us say, okay, let's do this, instead of saying, no, let's keep going with
I
NECOG.
don't disagree.
I guess what I'm leading up to is I'm just trying to remind the room, not just ourselves, but remind the room kind of why we went along with this in the first place. So that now talking full-time does get us sort of philosophically away from why we were willing to bring for this first. So I think that's probably why I'm feeling the reluctance, the collective reluctance, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, because everybody's got to vote, but I'm feeling some collective reluctance around this philosophical movement away from what it was that made the decision.
She keep track of the hours that she's going there,
Yeah.
et cetera. What, could you put that together?
I certainly can.
Because we don't know what that is.
Yep.
And let's be fair.
When we first looked at this model and presented this to the Board of Finance, we weren't 100% sure of what we were looking at. We've been paying NECOG. NECOG had been double billing us on some things that had to be combed through, and that's finally getting settled. But we weren't sure what the town's needs were until we got a professional in to really evaluate it. And now she's coming back and I don't know if it's COVID related because people have been shut down. She's getting a lot more calls and a lot more unique situations where she's actually having to go to court and deal with things like that. I think that the model has progressed, but I think maybe the need has been realized. And there's been a lot of neglect in this area that we haven't dealt with. And now it's our responsibility as a town to deal with it. We have a competent person, professional, that is dealing with it the appropriate way, and we want to nickel and dime her and cut her down and keep her at 20 hours when she's working 40 hours, just so she leaves, because what incentive is there for her to stay? And I get it, you don't want to pay for a service, but this is a service that affects most of the individuals in the town of Thompson in one way, shape, or another.
I'm asking for these things so that we can get, not a
agree.
guessing situation here, okay? And, does she go out? How often? She imagine she takes care of that, right? She must put that down somewhere.
Mhm.
Not gonna go out in the middle of the night. Now, when she goes to the court system, right? She may be there all day before she's seen, right? Does she take care of that? I'd like to look at it all before I just start cutting it out. All right?
I appreciate that. I do know
Maybe
that
I'm
that
looking,
kennel
maybe this is
not
my,
a once a day thing. She has to be
probably-
there
this is
three
my
times a day.
police area. I mean, not gonna go someplace and sit down there and not get paid for it either.
It's gonna be a very difficult thing to think, because I have a feeling that her day goes from going to work for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, to going back home and doing her normal thing at home, getting another call, and it's not like
She
you're
does
going out
such
there
a-
and working
It's
8 hours.
Does she
also
live
a
in this
7-day
Like
10
that?
minutes here, 10
Yes,
minutes there.
yep, she lives, she definitely lives in this town.
So it's just
Um,
figuring out how many hours
Yeah.
she.
7 days a week, that kennel has to be visited 3 times a day,
No, I understand.
right? No matter what the weather. She told me that.
Mary did a great job too
Yeah.
when we had her. I mean, I get it.
But I don't wanna not pay somebody to put in all the hours, they should be paid fairly.
And that's why we have to look at this, what she's doing. What does the law say? She should know that. The law is making her do that. You have to do this, you have to do that. How long it takes. And I'm assuming that she's taking, writing this down
Yep,
as to where she is, et cetera, et cetera.
yes, and I can.
And then,
get all of
then,
that.
you know, and then we can know a little more about this and do the right thing. That's all I'm looking for.
No, and if this is Amy St. Ange, just to build off of that, a lot of times we hear from taxpayers, I don't get any services. My kids don't go to school, I don't use the transfer station, but I have dogs. I have pets, or my neighbor has pets. I know Jan also additionally, another case that she did, she went to somebody's house to collect a dead bat. And then she had to take it to be tested because the woman had animals and was afraid that the bat had rabies and the cat had come in contact. So she does a lot of things like that, that seem minor, but to that woman, it was wonderful that Jan went out and did that for her. But that's her job as animal control officer. You wouldn't have gotten that from me.
I think to Larry's point, said doing the right thing, and he's right, and that's what I find that people on this board over the years, we try to do the right thing. And I think at some point we realize that doing the right thing may not always be the most popular. Because if you do the most popular thing, you might be pulled in 2 different directions at once. Somebody wants you to increase, another person wants you to cut. You
Exactly.
can't do it.
Yeah.
So you basically, at some point, you gotta figure a way, sometimes, a way to split it, or either 25 or 75 or 50 or 60 or 30, trying to do the right thing. So to your point, I agree about doing the right thing. And I guess the way that I would sort of prepare everybody in the room is that when we finally do the right thing, and that's what we believe to be the right thing, it may not be the most popular. Basically cut it the way we see it, the way we do it, right?
One other thing,
Yep.
does she keep track of all the hours?
Yes, she keeps track
Whether
of the
she's
hours
paying
and the
for it or
cases.
not? Does
Yes,
she keep it there?
yes,
If she has that, maybe we'd like to look at that
okay.
from the past. That's so that, we're not, if we decide, well, we're gonna give her a little more, that she's just made this up and she wasn't.
Mhm.
I'm a guy that wants to know what you did before and then what you're doing now. So,
Anything else on canine operations? It sounds like there's been a little bit of research on.
Right.
We can
Mhm.
move on. We ready to move on? Yep. So then we would move on to public works, town garage. Looks like this is gonna be a town garage. There's not a whole lot of net going on. There's something up by 24 and down by 2. I don't know how they figure out how to get electricity to drop by $2,000, but I'm not gonna argue with them. Figure out how to do it.
Well, that was. It might have been 9.
That's good. We accept that.
Heating of fuel,
And not
Probably
supposed
too
to see
low.
that. Not supposed to see
is
that.
probably too low.
Yeah,
It might be too low.
It's definitely too
Um,
low.
We don't have to say might be. We know where that's headed.
Are they still burning wood?
no, they're not.
They're not.
They're not. I believe that the, and Rich isn't here to speak for it, but I believe that the furnace itself was inoperable or.
Did we just repair that last year? Didn't we have a big repair on it? Or was it the
I'm
year before?
sorry.
I lose track of the years.
Yeah, I remember the same thing.
We had a repair on that, I remember.
Is there any way
Big
to
savings.
resurrect that? Because I'm worried about
Potentially, yes.
all this wood and brush and they get up the side of the road.
Mhm.
And that can certainly offset some of the fumes.
Yeah.
There's a way to repair or resurrect.
I'm sure there is. I can find out.
I mean, you know, if it was 2 years ago, we might not be saying, oh my God. This year,
Right.
We're saying, oh my gosh. I'm talking to a friend of mine who knows a guy who sells wood stove.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how much you gotta pay for a wood stove right now. They're all back ordered and you can't get one off the floor. So everybody's looking for a way to offset. So public works.
But the only thing I think is that the fuel.
Fuel
Fuel
is
is too low,
up
it needs to be
36.
appropriate.
Up 36. And we won't know that.
It's not up enough, you know that.
Oh, we're talking about the one that's up 27.
Only up 30,
Well,
only
it's
up
up
36.
36, there's diesel and.
I'm looking at the public town garage. Where am I looking?
You're in the right, same
Yeah, we were on town garage and I
Yeah.
think we just stepped down into public works.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. And I noticed.
Oh, diesel fuel went up 30% too, I see.
And so highway maintenance, is that the clearing out of the, you know, where the clearing out of brush along the road falls into highway maintenance? No.
I'm trying to find where you
I
are.
wonder what the function of highway maintenance covers.
Where?
Oh, I'm in, public works.
That's
I'm going
your-
down,
Fourth line down, fourth line
few
down.
line items down from the top of public works.
Okay, that's
Highway maintenance.
on my other.
Is it highway, that's highway maintainers?
Oh, maintenance,
Maintenance.
sorry, those are salaries. Okay.
That's the actual salary.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why there's a
Thank you.
1
Highway
point-
maintenance. Okay.
That's why it's 1.75.
I was just gonna say, that must be contractual.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There is going to be one adjustment, when we officially hire the Director of Public Works. The starting salary is 83,000.
Thank you.
I just haven't made the change in the ClearGov software yet. Until you make the motion, then make those changes. Keeping a running tool.
That's, 5,000. 6,000. Yeah, 6, no, it's 904. It's
770.
I have one question on this, the director. He doesn't live in this area, does he? Or does he?
Not currently,
Is he going to?
potentially, yes, he's not opposed to it. His mom's a Realtor, so he's already.
So he has
back in
active,
line.
I mean, he has, takes his truck with him back home wherever he
Yes.
lives? Where
Lives
does-
in Ashburn.
Okay.
I would, there's a lot of line items that are zeroed out, and we don't know what we're facing this year. This is a
Oh, I got it
giant-
here.
This is a job.
Okay.
I think we should give a detail what's going on. with some of those. What can we do to offset salary increases?
I'm sure all of these zeros that are all professional services, all their costs are gonna go up too, because their fuel's going up. Everything. All
I
of
don't
us.
know, Rob, maybe, you
No,
know,
I'm just saying.
do tree service. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes, we do. I'm not sure that's.
But it's
We're
just a
doing our
It's
own,
hypothetical.
we're doing our own tree service.
That's a hypothetical. Right. So if I follow you, you're saying just because it's zeroed out, doesn't necessarily mean that we just walk away from it. Bring it down a little bit to offset $80,000 for public works, correct? No, it was any one of these.
We got it. But that's the area we probably need. I mean, another one. I just.
We are doing some, that's for outside contractors. A lot of that was put in because of the trees after the gypsy moth catastrophe a couple of years ago. We still have a lot of dead trees that have to
We're
be taken
thinking-
down that our crew can't do. Our crew does a lot of the tree work, but they can't do all of the tree work. But I do know that this past year, we haven't, from what I can tell from this report, we haven't expended anything.
This time last year, there were a number of items that Rich said, we haven't got to that yet. We have 3 months to do it. I don't think we need to jam
Tree
in.
service has been down. Rich has been out for, not Rich, Todd has been out for several months, and he's really the tree man.
I'm not talking about tree service. And this time last year, we had the same situation on line zero. I know Rich said, I haven't used that line item yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use it up.
Well,
So-
we have a new director coming in. I don't think it's time to question those numbers.
Disagree, they're just zero out.
Well, we don't know. We have no history.
But we know, we should know what we spent year to date.
Well, I mean, just leave it at that. That's been a little sloppy.
Right, so meaning we should know what we spent year to date because these are all just in progress. It's just pulled over from the budget.
That's another-
That was
So we don't
part of-
know.
Part of the
It
art.
just pulled right over.
Checking these Invoices and checking out.
Just find it hard to understand how.
I understand what you're
we
saying,
said
but we got a
22.
new director, and he's gonna come in next year with a new budget. That's the time to question.
Oh, but we gotta set the budget now.
Well, we have it in front of us.
I do have year-to-date totals with me on various line items if you have questions.
So you
about
have year-to-date
specific-
totals that you can-
Yeah,
you can
so
run
far
down the
as of
numbers?
today. Yep,
That's tree service.
that was zero. It was zero.
Okay, hopefully, so let's start with, so let's start, where are we, who's the first one is service contract, right?
This is a contract.
Yep.
This is a contract.
So we're gonna go down the list. If anybody's got their pen and they wanna write this down, they're welcome to do so, but we're gonna go down the list. So service contracts, where are we year to date?
Year-to-date, $1,313.91.
1, 3, 1, 3. What about outside contracts?
$3,550.
3, 5, 5,
Um,
0. right?
And there is 5,000 encumbered, but I don't know specifically what that would be for.
Okay, and then we go down to tree service.
Zero, and zero encumbered.
So nothing's been spent on tree service?
Correct.
Okay.
Nick, I don't know if you know this, but I noticed the prior year was exactly 5,000, exactly 10,000.
I don't have an answer for that. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Contractor for MS4.
I think because, oh, I'm sorry, to go back to that, I think it's because sometimes they'll keep a PO open. In the case of one of the outside contractors, we're currently working off of some of those old,
Well, we did a contract for
Encumbered.
X dollars and then we
Yes.
actually spent.
and then we
against
use it for that vendor
All right.
later on. So
Probably what it is.
Contractor for MS4.
that is zero. However, we have just contracted with J&D Engineering. They're going to be handling all of our MS4 work. It's really a nightmare. And we're behind schedule. We've been relying on our wetlands agent to do the work for MS4, and we're 2 years behind on our reporting. And we're hoping that J&D will help us get back on track with that. So that is a solid number that we anticipate using before the end of the year.
23,000.
Okay, so I got 0, but we'll spend. right?
Yes.
0, but we'll spend. Go ahead, you're about to
I
say.
just want to sure I understood it. I heard tree services, you say that we had POs for prior years.
Oh, not necessarily on trees. No, not necessarily on tree service. That's one I can say that we just haven't.
No, but we talk about prior years, I believe.
We have situations where at the end of the prior year, we hadn't spent it, we released the PO, the work wasn't done, this gets back to public account. And then we said, here's the PO.
To my knowledge, there are still POs open from the last couple of years that weren't
Tree
closed out.
services?
No,
in
just
general?
in general, in one case for water monitoring from Eastern Connecticut Conservation District. A contract that we had with them, I just know that that's
Money's that I haven't spent.
Yes. Mhm.
Street lighting.
56,738.
Advertising.
$135.
Equipment rental,
To date, nothing, and nothing encumbered.
so uniform service, safety shoes.
$5,610.72.
That's
With-
contractual.
It's contractual with $3,000, almost 3,100 encumbered.
Hearing services, oh, that's don't worry about it. With the $3,500 one, center line mark,
$6,745.
6745. Water monitoring,
5,046.
5046. Medical supplies,
$5,920.
590.
Yep.
Supplies,
6595.
595.
$221 encumbered.
And then, school,
$941.71 and 400, well, roughly $500 encumbered.
941 plus 5. Keep going here. What's, highway signs?
$1,410. I will say on this note, that I know that there are a lot of signs that were purchased in and many signs that have still yet to be put up. So if there's a line item you could possibly cut, it would probably be that one because we have to get caught up on the ones that we have.
Yeah, that was last year. I remember he said
Yeah.
he was changing them all back to one color.
Yeah,
So that's highway signs, 1410. And, I know fuel has gone up.
Yeah.
But still, just for,
187,742 for gasoline.
27,742.
Yep, and diesel is 49,105, but there's an encumbrance listed at 58,894, so I'm going to assume that's the fuel contract. So,
Okay. How about equipment repair parts?
okay, $16,350.26,
163 what?
50,
Any comments there?
478,
417.
478, yeah, 478.
You might want to be careful with some of the ones, the small, what appears to be small, might be actually big. Probably not.
Transmissions and things of that.
So meaning like, motor oil and lubricant?
Yeah,
Okay,
again,
let's,
I don't mean to be picky.
okay, let's do it. So Amy, you got motor oil and lubricant?
$181 expended so far.
I just prove my point.
Your point. Is there any encumbrance on that?
No,
Okay. So then, we'll go for the next one off.
679.53 with 145 encumbered.
And, there's nothing on that. So then, new drainage construction.
$7,918 and then an encumbrance of $9,511. I will say that it was on the docket for this year to do a lot of drainage work. So my guess is that potentially there was some pre-ordered material that might be outstanding.
Then,
Or 48,238 and almost $6,000 encumbered. You're welcome.
that helps. Anyone have anything there before we move on? Go on next thing. Steve? I guess, just before we step away, in case anybody's got anything else.
So can I ask a question? When we're looking at department publish this, for our referendum, we are publishing the bottom line by department for expenditure. Does that legally mean that within a particular department, there's freedom of expenditure?
If I'm correct, as long as the expenditure within the department, excuse me, as long as the expenditure for the entire department does not exceed what was approved for the entire department, then line items can move within the department.
That was always my understanding, yes.
That was my understanding in the past, I'm just clarifying it.
Yep, my understanding too. My understanding too.
Thank you. So nickel and diming each individual item.
We see your point. What?
But just to change it, you need to think about what your rationale is.
Well, yeah, what is the bottom, how did we arrive at the bottom line?
Add this,
If
or
we added
subtract
this,
that, because
then we get to the bottom line, then we know why we're taking 10 or whatever we're taking.
Oh, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, good man. That's right, yeah. So yeah, they can move around, absolutely, right? So if they're not thrilled with the way we gave it to them, they can move it around within.
Well, maybe to that point, are we going to address fuel costs in all the departments that have fuel or energy?
I don't think so. I think we're increasing at 30%. We have this freedom within account. I think
30%
that's up, that's up to the individual in that department to maintain their budget.
30% is food.
Just because we say you're gonna spend X amount of dollars on a particular item, doesn't mean they have to spend X amount of dollars on that item. And they can adjust their budget to compensate for overages and underages, and at the end of the year, we have transfers anyway.
These are the fuel costs are substantial. Other big cost is personnel, which is pretty much fixed, not 100%, but pretty much fixed.
Pretty much fixed.
So when the fuel costs go up, not 30%, but 100%, sometimes you just can't make it up, and I think it's appropriate to budget what you expect to happen. As best you can. At least you don't have a crystal ball, a working crystal ball. But I think we want to budget what we think is going to be appropriate, not you're gonna make it up somewhere else. You think we don't need to spend it someplace else, you should identify it.
You said. When you said that's the very reason why I want to break, because I want to go out to one line.
No, I understand. I was just clarifying.
Yeah, no, I know, but what I'm trying to say is I think that there's a tendency of sorts to just kind of move things to the right. Not us, I'm saying in general, and we're in harder times and we're down. trying
You're
to-
looking
our
at
last
zero-based
30,000
budgeting,
Doesn't have to be zero, but I think it's an opportunity
which
to.
means each item is.
Go ahead.
So I just think that if we go back to Public Works, for example, I feel like we're gonna knock it down, we just finally go to the overall aggregate number and say 20,000 out, go figure it out. I think this way it allows us to kind of put a little thought behind, okay, salaries, really can't touch salaries. Fuel's a bit of a crystal ball, some of these other ones, maybe some. If I looked at all of this and I said, there, it is really tight. A little different, you know, I might lean
Okay,
toward-
I'm not.
so, I'm just trying to share the perspective. Steve, I think for us to be here, knowing what oil's gonna be per barrel in the fall, or whatever
For the
the
next
push it,
2.5 years.
could. I mean, I hear you, and on one side of me says it's 30% is way too low, and the other side of me says oil could be back to $50 a barrel by the fall, the war could be over, there's an election year, right? They're gonna want it low, so I think,
Yeah, we don't
I think the only thing that's certain is that whatever we do decide, probably be wrong.
Well, I'm sure of that,
You know, one way or another.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but if it was a decrease, we wouldn't say, hey, let's move forward because we don't know.
My
Let's go with the best information we have.
Steve, is when you look at a budget, Board of Selectmen plus department heads who have to maintain within their budget. If it means freezing a budget as the school is doing at the present time, that's what it means. I'm not there to give what I think is needed because the price of gas has doubled in the past 2 months. As you say, Rob, may cut in half in the next 3 months. We don't know that. But I think we hire people to keep an eye on that budget and to work with it. If you give them too much, they're gonna spend it. This is public administration.
That's your question.
I'm used to it.
And so the fact that we're on Public Works and we've just gone down, through these year-to-date in progress estimates, that does give us information. We can take action in this department now, or we can come back to it.
I suggest let's try to get through this.
Okay.
I think
Is
we're
everybody
running
okay
out
with-
of time.
I'm good. I like to study.
Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah,
move
that
on.
information of what we've spent so far is very helpful.
Yes.
Okay, so that means round,
Can I clarify, that was as of today
As
or
of
as of
today.
the end of the last month?
As of today,
great.
end of the month too. Yeah,
Both.
okay, both.
The answer is yes, both questions.
All of you.
The ground supplies parks. I don't know if you happen to have your dates on the.
Yeah, I do.
You?
Yep, I did all of Public Works, because I
Oh,
figured we'd get
fabulous.
through that
So,
today.
the Summer temporary.
We, again, did not hire temporary help for lawn mowing. Couldn't find anybody to work.
Okay. Oh, well,
It
yeah.
may be an option. We've made do the last couple of years. Last year, it did hamper us quite a bit because it was such a rainy summer that we were out there mowing quite a lot. We had two dedicated staff, but that pulled them away from doing any other jobs. I would hate to see it go completely, but it might be something that we could do without this year. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Does that mean that this line item year to date?
It's zero.
is Zero spent?
Yes,
Well,
we just couldn't find anybody to work.
I understand
We
that.
advertised.
Should we be budgeting something?
I feel like I don't wanna
We're
see it
doing
go.
Cemeteries in town, that's part of this.
Yeah.
We put in 5 year? Did it then?
I would hate to cut it all off.
Right. I don't wanna see it go away because I know at some point it's gonna be
To me,
necessary.
cemeteries.
Are we making lists or are we making motions?
They can
Read my
cut
mind.
five.
In my mind, because I was gonna say,
Sorry.
I don't wanna make any assumptions, but I'd be willing, how anybody else at the city feels, but I'd be willing to make a motion now that we reduce summer temporary from $10,000 to $5,000.
I'll second it.
So I got the motion, Dave has the second, for Dottie's benefit. And Dottie, that is to remove, that is, under ground supplies parks, line item summer temporary, to reduce that from $10,000 down to $5,000. So that's the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll go around the table. Ross? Rob?
Yes.
Yes. Larry? Yes. Steve?
Yes.
Dave? I'll vote yes, that's 6-0. So that's $5,000 for next year. Okay,
Amy, question
Yes,
on the parks, does, maintenance of equipment come under that? If there is equipment that needs to be maintained.
yeah, it's not listed under there. We have,
It's
no,
under- It's under the regular public works.
correct.
so then we could go down to what's the year-to-date spend, continuing on ground supplies parks, what's the year-to-date spend on
300,
ground supplies park?
okay, ground supplies park, $4,309.16.
4309. Any encumbrances there?
No,
Then park maintenance,
$610.63.
10.
And no, wait, no, never mind. I thought there was an encumbrance. but there's not.
Any discussion on these, while we're still on ground supplies park? Okay. My cell phone says it just reached 9 PM.
Move to adjourn?
May I?
That's true. Steve, the agenda goes to Board of Member Finance. Board of Finance.
Sorry.
So, hold on. So before we go to that, is everybody okay with concluding the line items in our agenda called budget workshop and going to Board of Finance. Okay, we're good? Okay, so Board of Finance member comments, go ahead, Dave.
Number of points I'd like to bring up. The grand list increased by 34,278,869. Based on the current bill rate, which is 24.95, that generates automatically $855,258, which is well, it's over a mil, not well over a mil, but it's over a mil, probably a mil and a third. The total budget this year, 29,115,739, uncollected taxes, which I've added in at 210, gives us a total budget of 29,325,739. These are right from Amy's sheet that she passed out, with the exception of uncollected taxes. The revenue, as you reported, was 9,655,745. This results in a total tax warrant of 19,669,994, which is a 26.0 mill rate, or a 1.05 mil increase over the current rate. To reduce this from 20.6 to 24.95, a reduction of approximately $800,000 needs to be considered. Keep in mind, we've already increased our expenditures by $855,000 because of the 34 million grand list increase. So what I will be looking at and hopefully have put together next week will be some suggestions to move in that direction of cutting $800,000 out of the present.
Right. Any other comments, Dave?
No.
Okay.
Is the, I heard, I don't know if it's true, that the Board of Education has included an assistant finance director in their budget?
When we did the calculation, there's money left for that
Okay.
within the budget that we already have.
Okay.
There's ample dollars left.
And do we have a new number for the finance?
Yeah, between the school and the town, yes, the 150,000.
Is that being shared?
Yes,
75 apiece?
yes. We haven't made the adjustment in the budget only because they were already presented, but we know that the dollars are there based on the two
budgets?
former positions, and yes,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
You said that there was money in the budget for assistant finance director at the school.
There's still money left in the budget after both salaries and benefits.
Obviously,
Bob is
today.
Today was his last.
Yeah.
285 's leaving. That's what I want to-
Well, there is one benefit package, which is 25 maybe.
Right.
And
Pretty
we
close.
figured probably half-time, a part-time,
Oh,
another
part-time.
part-time individual
Whatever.
potentially versus a full-time. We won't know until we do the evaluation, or actually, when
Right.
Bill does
And
the
if you need it.
evaluation.
Right, that was my concern initially.
Yeah.
So,
Any other Board of Finance member comments? Go ahead.
I'm not gonna be here next month. My apologies.
We'll miss you.
Sorry, good job. Good job.
You're in the Board of Finance where?
I worked a 40-hour-a-week job and I got benefits.
I almost said it. They're giving you benefits? Well, that's only 20 hours, right?
They doubled your pay.
make a motion to adjourn?
Any other Board of Finance?
Think we can finish this next week?
Probably not next week. Well, because I'm counting the number of pages that we've done so far. And we haven't done the capital improvement plan yet.
Okay.
So I figure it'll probably take us to go total. I'm thinking probably not next week, but not next meeting, but the meeting after. I'm
The three things that we part.
right, and then we have yet to dig into the capital. In the past, we doubled up, we've done Tuesday, Thursday to get it done.
We may have to do that.
We could do that.
A final week.
And honestly, it all depends on how quickly we make. Because sometimes the cuts are slow and painful, and sometimes they're swift. It all depends on how much gusto.
The other thing we have to consider, budget meeting and the fact that what we decide on our last meeting still has to be recalculated and verified.
With the software it helps, but yes, absolutely. When we were doing the spreadsheets, we would vote on something and then we'd adjourn, and we would find out the next day how close we came to it actually being what we thought it was.
That has changed.
So, want to make a motion to adjourn? So Dave's got the motion, is there a second? Barry's got the second, all in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Meeting is now adjourned, 9:07 PM. Thank you, everyone.